Interesting, all good stories, no question about it. Of the three, I'm not sure anyone has the advantage, although Jordan Spieth made some unbelievable putts there on the back nine. One putts at 13, 14, 16, 17, and 18.
Just did not look like he was going to be in the position that he's in. So if you just joined us, some of the examples of how this all happened. Ryan Moore again was the 54-hole leader by 1. He bogeyed the second and the third to fall back to 8 under, but this from 100.
But he's here today in camp, and everybody's happy to see him. The lineups. First of all, for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Ender Inciarte in center field, Danny Dorn first base, and Aaron Hill at second base. Cody Ross, who has had a lot of injury problems the last couple of years, the former Giant, in left field. Yasmani Tomas, the Cuban emigre, at third base. We're anxious to see him. Jamie Romack in right field. Tubby Gozowish, the catcher. Nick Ahmed at short, and Archie Bradley, another top prospect for the D-backs, will be on the mound. We're anxious to see him. And Tim Hudson gets the start for the Giants, coming back from some ankle surgery. This is his second Cactus League start.
Tim Hudson, the 6'1", 175-pound, 16-year veteran, 39 years of age. You can see a lot of sinkers, a lot of ground balls when he's right.
Inciarte leads off and takes a called strike with Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. 364 in the Cactus League for Inciarte. Hit 278, being brought up from the minor leagues last year after Pollock got hurt. He's an excellent defensive player, so he'll be an extra outfielder for the D-backs this year with Pollock back in action. Many of the Diamondbacks regulars not in action here today. And that's off the inside. 2 balls and a strike to count to Inciarte. The umpiring alignment with Marquez back of the plate. Jerry Davis, Ron Culpa, and Jim Reynolds on the bases. The base umpires in the regular season, they'll be assigned to a specific base, but in spring training they rotate around every 2 innings. So right now it looks like Jerry Davis is the second base umpire. And that's a walk for Inciarte.
Let's take a look at that defense that'll be playing behind Tim Hudson today for the Giants, starting in the outfield from left to right. It'll be Blanco, Brown, and Perez, the best arm in right field with Perez. Crawford and McGee on the left side of the infield. Adrianza and Ishikawa on the right side. Buster Posey, he'll be in the squad, putting down the signs.
And here comes Danny Dorn. Dorn is at first base for this game as he pulls one foul. And the count is 0-1. Dorn is a young guy who will turn. Well, he's not that young. He's young in terms of his major league experience, which is right now consisting of only 2 games late last year. But he's 30 years old. I just assumed we'd never seen him before, that he was a young guy. Not that young. Out of Cal State Fullerton.
And no major league experience.
Well, I got him at 2 games. Oh, is that the fall league?
Yeah, I got him with 0 days. But I mean, he's a trooper. I mean, this will be his 10th year of professional baseball. He's talked about the lineage. He comes out of a great program, college, Cal State Fullerton. And last year he did hit 303 in Reno, which is an offensive yard. But when you play that long, you could play. I don't care if it is in the minor leagues. You could play.
9 years in the minor leagues for Danny Dorn. Dorn was the third baseman in the major league movies.
Well, that's good trivia, partner. Nice going. I'm in.
I hear Dorn and I'm thinking major league. So Danny Dorn may have heard that himself a few times along the way. Dorn does not figure to play a whole lot in the major leagues come the regular season because Paul Goldschmidt, who missed the last couple of months of last year with an injury, he's back, he's healthy, and Goldschmidt will be definitely in there, and he's had an excellent spring. That one had some movement coming back to the plate, and that's in there for a strike. 2-2. Roger Dorn was the character in the Major League, the first Major League movie. Just in case you're wondering.
I was wondering.
Then he was the owner of the team in the second one.
Corbin Benson?
That's it. Corbin Burnson. Yeah.
Burnson.
Left field. Blanco. One away.
All right, now it's time for our round table key ingredient. That's right, round table. Key ingredients brought to you by the Italian Artisan Pizza from Round Table. Available at participating restaurants, including online and mobile catering. Only at Round Table, the last honest pizza. Number one, offensive rhythm. They haven't been able to score runs. That explains 3, 10, and 1 is their Cactus League record. Hudson's 30. That's the amount of pitches he'll be allowed to throw today. They want him to be in 2 innings to get him up and down. And win one for the Flan Man, Tim Flannery, who had retired back in uniform this spring. Good to see him. And maybe he can be the guy that gets him on the win track. And those are our round table key ingredients.
Buster Posey has dropped aside as Aaron Hill, the veteran. He'll be the regular second baseman to start the year for the D-backs. And the count is 0-1.
And a nice little slider there from Hudson. Hudson can give you 2 types of fastball. He can cut the balls. He can give you a slider, a curveball, and he's one of the rare guys that'll throw a split and a changeup. Not afraid to throw anything at you.
No swing.
But swing and misses on a slider this early in camp, and that's a good thing. Remember, this is only his second outing. They kind of held him back because of the ankle surgery he had in the offseason, removing bone chips. And when you're in your second outing and you're getting that slider to have some snap to it where guys are swinging and missing, that's a good sign. See ya.
2 down.
Payoff pitch looked like a little sinker trying to backdoor that outside corner. So good movement coming back in, and Aaron Hill in a protect mode going down by way of a swing and miss.
Cody Ross now. Ross, 267 for the spring, 4 for 15. One ball, no strikes. Runner at first, 2 down. Hudson walked the first batter of the game, Inciarte. Inciarte still over there at first, with Dorn having hit a fly ball to left and Hill having struck out. Yasmani Tomas, the slugger from Cuba, is on deck. No wind blowing at all here. A little bit of a later start for this one. And the weather here really since just before last weekend has been spectacular. They got into the 80s about 8-9 days ago and have stayed there ever since. And that slider in the dirt, Buster Posey digging it out, keeping Inciarte over at first. 2-0. Tim Hudson, who last year was the starter in game 2 of the division series against Washington. The Giants had won the first game, which Jake Peavy started, and were in a position to really take command in that series, and they won that second game. He pitched extremely well. Look out. No. Inciarte is going to head home. Crawford's throw. Posey there, and the out is made. But Gary Brown couldn't quite get to it. And it worked out for the best for the Giants. No score after a half. Let's take a look at the Giants starting lineup. The batting order. It'll be Blanco in left, Crawford at short, Buster Posey the catcher, hit .333 against the D-backs last year in 18 games. Travis Ishikawa first base, Casey McGee at third, Juan Perez the right fielder, Gary Brown in center, ARI AT at second, and Hudson is the starting pitcher. Facing Archie Bradley, the 22-year-old phenom out of the D-backs farm system.
Having a pretty good spring. This will be his third game. Just a couple of hits allowed, 5 strikeouts. And what Archie Bradley features is a pretty good fastball. It's mid-90s. Big guy, 6'4", 230 pounder. He's got a curveball and a changeup, which really has been his project pitch.
And that's right in there. At 92, it's 0-2.
Bradley, a former first-round pick, and he was going to go to the University of Oklahoma and play football. Great high school athlete.
He was a quarterback as a high school football player at Broken Arrow High School, the same high school that produced Brad Penny, longtime major leaguer who had some time with the Giants, and also Jim Brewer, a relief pitcher years ago who had a very long major league career, also from Broken Arrow High School. And that sharp breaking ball is too low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Archie Bradley was the first-round draft choice of the D-backs back in 2011. 7th overall pick. So he was very highly touted from the very beginning.
Let's take a look at the defense playing behind Archie Bradley today for the Diamondbacks. Starting from left to right in the outfield will be Ross, Inciarte, and Romack. Ahmed and Tomas on the left side. Hill and Dorn on the right side. Tuffy Gozwich will be behind the plate.
And a base hit to center field for Blanco. That's pretty good at bat for Blanco, who took that low curveball with a 2-strike count and eventually gets himself a solid single to center.
And that really has been one of the criticisms of Archie Bradley. He doesn't really have a great kill pitch. This is a 2-strike curveball, and look at the hang. I mean, that's right up there around the belt in the protect mode. When you make a mistake between the letters and the belt, they're going to square you up. And that was right back up the middle, what you try and do with 2 strikes. Nice at bat.
Now Brandon Crawford, and you mentioned the Giants' offensive woes here in the Cactus League, hitting only .241 as a team, which for the Cactus League, that is a profoundly poor batting average. This could be 2, and not in time to first base. Ahmed with the return throw, and Crawford was able to leg it out. Buster Posey will come up. Posey has only had 2 hits in the Cactus League and 12 at bats, and he really has not played consistently at all here. The Giants in the long spring trying to bring Buster along rather slowly, not overuse him early on. Had the day off yesterday, even though the Giants had 2 different games played. 1 ball and no strikes. The Giants hitting .241 in the Cactus League and also averaging only 4.5 runs a game. Cactus League, it's not unusual for teams to average 6, 7 runs, 8 runs a game, hit over 300 as a team. It's a good place to hit.
Well, you know, and the skipper would like to see a little more rhythm in the offense right now. And what happens in camp, especially early on, is the guys are focusing so much on their own game, they don't really start to hit situationally. Guys are working on their strike zone, they're working on their swings, they're working on their balance, getting their hands in shape. A lot of things going on that are kind of inside the helmet of the hitter. And what Bochy wants them to do is start playing the game. Let's start having a few more situational at bats. You're 2 weeks into spring training game wise, and it's time.
Big hole open on the right side. Dorn on the bag at first with Blanco, and Hill, the second baseman, over toward the middle. And that strike 2 called to Buster.
He was not looking fastball there.
And you see how they're playing the infield, so the right side is wide open to Buster. The wind, it's a different wind than we've grown accustomed to here in the Cactus League. This wind is blowing in strong from right field. We're used to seeing the wind blow out if it's blowing at all. And he strikes out. Buster Posey just blew it right by him.
I think he gained a little confidence in the second strike. He threw it right through the strike zone. Buster Posey did not swing at it. Here he comes back at him again. They set the target away. This thing comes back in towards the middle of the play at the belt. And that's not one you normally see Buster Posey swing and miss at. I think he's setting him up for the regular season.
So here comes Travis Ishikawa. Ishikawa has had an excellent spring, which is good news for him because he's trying to make this team. 389 batting average in the spring with a triple and a homer and 4 batted in 18 at bats. Just below the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. Crawford at first, 2 down.
One thing about Ishikawa, he's never going to get relaxed. I mean, just the road that he has traveled, he'll never trust spring training. And you know, he's learned to deal with it. He's very relaxed in a very, very high pressure situation in spring training.
Too low again. 2-0. Well, Ishikawa has followed a path that has seen him go from team to team to team. He was a Giant early on, went to the World Series with the Giants in 2010, and then his odyssey really began after that. It's off the outside, 3-0. Until finally he had his rendezvous with destiny in the same season where things had gotten so bad for him. He was in such a profound slump, and he'd gone from team to team and team, even just during last season, the year he started with the Pirates, that he was considering just retiring. There's a strike. Can you imagine that? He really thought seriously about retiring, had a long talk with his wife and one of his best friends. His best friend came sort of a pep talk and said, whatever you do, I'll still be your friend. I'll still love you. And he says, you might regret it, though. You may walk away and think maybe you shouldn't have. There goes Crawford. That ball is driven into center. The big part of the yard. In Ciarte. And that is the end. Well, he didn't retire. Instead, he became a postseason hero, sending the Giants to the World Series with his fabled home run. Still no scores, second inning. Tim Hudson on the mound, and Tim Hudson's good friend and teammate is standing by with Amy G.
I know, John, I'm going to ask him about Tim Hudson, but not until the end of the interview. Save the best for last. Madison Bumgarner. Wow, what a year for you. Onslaught of, spotlight for you. You win all these awards, accolades. How are you handling all the attention?
I'm trying to ignore it the best I can.
Not do stuff like this.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. Just you got to make sure that your attention is focused on baseball and getting ready for the 2015 season, which is what we've been doing.
In all seriousness, with all of the attention that you received, and you were always so gracious about making sure the entire team was involved, but how do you find a way when so many people need so much from you to stay grounded? What's your key?
I don't know if there's a short answer for that, but I think it's the people around me, help make it easy for me. I don't feel like it's all that tough. It's relatively easy for me because I want to, I'm kind of more laid back and don't really care about all that attention. So it's not nothing too difficult. But if anything did start to change, I'm sure I got plenty of people in my corner to say, hey, come on now, you need,
Bring it down, bring it down. Tim Hudson might be one of those guys. I got to interview him a few weeks back, and he mentioned that the Hudsons took a trip to see the Madisons in the off-season, and they had a blast. How was that for you?
They did. We had a lot of fun. He came up for New Year's, and his family got together with our family. We just had a good time and visited a little bit, and that's it. But we enjoyed their company a lot.
Last one, and I want to ask you about the upcoming season. Everybody is just absolutely wrapped around what happened last year, but it's probably really important for you guys to move forward and get on to 2015. With that said, could you share personal goals that you have, but also at this point in spring training, we're not that far into it, but, a little bit of a rough start for this team, but what kind of emphasis do you put on the record right now? What's important? What should fans focus on right now?
Right now it's, you want to get out there and compete and try to win, but the main concern right now is getting ready for the season when it does count. So we just, we got to have our guys doing whatever they need to do to get ready to compete in the 2015 season. We're not worried too much, at least I'm not worried too much about records and individual performances in spring training. It's just about getting ready. And, it would be nice to get off to a little better start, but at the same time, that's not what we're here for right now. So,
Madison Bumgarner, good to have you. This was his first spring training interview. He wasn't sure about our setup, guys, and I think we did all right. We did all right. John and Mike.
Madison Bumgarner. First time I've heard him do an interview since he was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. And he was pretty good on that, I thought.
He was fantastic. And the lights were extremely bright for Madison Bumgarner in the offseason.
Sports Illustrated named him the Sportsman of the Year in their year-end issue. Jamie Romack with a single, and two men on now for the D-backs. Tomas over to second. Madison Bumgarner had maybe the greatest postseason any pitcher's ever had. Another great World Series, an all-time World Series performance. This was Game 7 when he came in for the bullpen. And he was the middle reliever, the setup man, and the closer all in one. He went the last 5 innings holding on to a 1-run lead. And the Giants won it all for the third time in the last 5 years. Bumgarner had 2 starts, and then with 2 days of rest, came back and went 5 innings in Game 7 in Kansas City.
They always talk about the Buster hugs that we've seen at the end of the 2010-2012 year. Perfect game of Matt Cain, the no-hitters of Tim Lincecum. Well, that Buster hug right there with Bumgarner was one I won't ever forget. That was a good one.
Madison Bumgarner, who had pitched extremely well in both the 2010 and 2012 World Series. That is caught by Crawford. Then, it was a catch. He was trying to take the ball out to see if he could double up Tomas at second, but ended up dropping the ball. But the out is recorded.
I think he kind of wanted to lay back on this thing, get that double play. I mean, if he could catch that on a short hop, that's a chance for a triple play. But you got to play the ball, and it did not get down on him. But he had a little problem getting it out of his glove. I think they had a chance to get the double play with the force had he been able to get it out clean. Not to be.
So Gozuish is retired. 2 men on, 1 man out, and Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, on his 25th birthday, stands in. And the slider, ball 1.
But you talk about everybody having the short off season, which is what you want. I mean, the team that wins it, or I guess loses it, theirs is short. But I mean, when you win it, things come at you very quickly in the off season. It flies. But when you're Madison Bumgarner and you do what he did, I mean, I got to believe he may have had the shortest off season of everybody.
That's a foul ball. Well, when you, not just that you're a World Series hero, and they want you on the Tonight Show, and they want you for 1,000 things. They want you on the banquet circuit. Every sports banquet in every big city around the country wants you to come in and appear at their banquet. And there are big companies that want you to do commercials for their operations and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of things that can happen. And there have been guys who didn't handle it so well, where they got on that banquet circuit and they showed up in spring training 15 pounds overweight.
Yeah,
they didn't have time to do their normal off-season workout regime. But that was not a problem, not an issue for Madison Bumgarner.
Well, he's from a very rural area in North Carolina, and as you heard in the interview, he said, I got a lot of people around me that will bring me back to earth if I do ever get out of hand and whatnot. And that's true. But I do believe that the time that he spent on his farm it meant probably more to him this year than it ever has.
That's a foul ball, third base side. 1-2.
If you talk around Bumgarner, I mean, you could never tell he had the success that he had last year, or the success that he had in 2010 or 2012. He's a humble man, and he understands what's at stake now. You got to reprove yourself in 2015, and so it goes in sports. You're only as good as your last at bat, the last inning pitched.
He's 25 years old, but in that regard, he is kind of an old soul. 2-2 the count. He and his wife ended up living with Tim Hudson and his family for the entire postseason. They had a place that they rented for the season, and the lease ran out at the end of September, and there the Giants were in postseason play, and Hudson invited them to just move in with them in the place they had in San Francisco. And that is a little bit low.
See the pitch count at 34 pitches for Hudson. I mean, he's kind of over where they wanted to go. And this might be his last hitter, regardless of what happens down there. Even if he gets him with a pitcher on deck, they may go to the bullpen. They got somebody down there getting loose.
Giants have a right-hander warming up out in the bullpen behind the right center field wall. Tomas at second, Romack at first. No score in the game, 1 out in the second. Full count. There go the runners. Way outside. And Bruce Bochy immediately pops up off his folding chair just outside the Giants dugout. And I think he's going to bring the hook with him to the mound.
Now, they're not going to take any chances with Hudson. And look, you want to go out in front of a crowd, and you want to have a couple of clean innings. But there's a little more at stake here for Hudson, and I think he passed all the tests today.
So the Giants going to the bullpen with the bases loaded, and the pitcher Bradley coming up. We'll be right back. second inning. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Dwayne Kuiper will be along a little bit later on in the telecast. And there is Curtis Parch, who has come in to pitch for the Giants in relief of Tim Hudson, with the pitcher Bradley coming up, but also with the bases loaded.
Fourth time that Parch has been into a game this spring training. He's a big guy, 6'5", 240 pounder. He's got a little bit of big league experience, 130 days, all of those days in a Reds uniform, which is where he was last year. On roster invitee to Giants camp this spring.
Bradley takes a strike.
Parch has a good fastball. He'll run it up there mid-90s. He's got a curveball and a changeup. Two types of fastballs. He'll try and get a sinker here, I would imagine. Get that ground ball from Bradley. He's not known as a particularly good hitter.
Parch is from Merced, California. A little bit low. Now Parch is a guy who has struggled with control in the past. Last year, in 7 innings in the big leagues with the Reds, he walked 7. The year before, 23 1/3 innings in the big leagues, he walked 17. So a hard thrower, but sometimes has had, in fact, all too often has had a problem harnessing that power. Middle infield, double play depth with the bases loaded and 1 out. That's the safety squeeze, and it's a foul ball. It would have been a force out at the plate. Ishikawa hurried it home to Posey with Tomas coming down the line. It was not a suicide squeeze.
Well, you can see what Ishikawa's thinking. If he could get the force at home there, had a chance to get a double play and get out of the inning.
And I'm thinking Bradley sort of freelanced that on his own. The idea of bunting with the bases loaded with a force out at home plate. 1-2 the count. And 2-2. 96 miles an hour, but well up out of the strike zone.
Good pitch, though. You got to count 1-2. You got a good fastball, mid to high 90s. You have a pitcher up there throwing across his letters. Maybe he'll chase. Guys that throw hard, that's always a good strikeout pitch.
He went right back up there again. This one fouled out of play into the parking lot. 2-2. Leadoff man Inciarte is on deck.
See why the Giants like his arm, though.
Well, that seems like every team the Giants face now, they're bringing in 3 or 4 guys out of the bullpen at least, who are throwing 95 or above. That is their strike 3 call.
97 with a little movement coming back to the outside corner at the knees. I don't know if Paul Goldschmidt hits this pitch. See you later. Right between the knees. Grab some pine meat.
So 2 down. Inciarte, who walked leading off the game, comes up. The leadoff man with the bases loaded, and 2 down here. Tomas at third, Romack at second, Ahmed at first. Tim Hudson an inning and a third through 35 pitches, so he got stretched out a little bit. And that off-speed pitch on 1.
Yeah, it looked like a changeup right there.
And Inciarte was badly fooled.
You look at the numbers for Parch. I mean, most of his minor league career, he was a starter, and they made the change with him in 2012, put him in the bullpen. And with the stuff that he has, the fastball that he has, if he ever came up with a changeup he could rely upon, he'd get to the big leagues.
97 miles an hour off the outside.
.28 years old. Parch in his 9th year of professional baseball. You know, it's about time a guy puts it together.
Ooh. Foul tip into Posey's glove. Strike 2. Another good fastball.
Yeah, that was a 2-seam fastball, and at 94 had good sink down around the knees. I mean, leadoff hitters are contact guys, and you throw a fastball by a guy when he's looking for it, and Inciarte was looking for it. I mean, you've made a nice pitch, especially down around the knees.
Out of play.
Just a little subtle changing of the grip, going from a two-seam fastball at 94, now he four-seams it at 97. Elevated it's a little bit higher. I think Buster Posey liked that a little bit higher than what he got. But still, I mean, the fastball can be two different pitches depending on the way you grip it.
Still 1-2 with the bases loaded. And that one was too high. Inciarte was not tempted. 2-2.
A little bit of an overthrow there. Remember, he got a swing through strike one with a split. He may be going back to that right now. He hasn't shaken off Buster Posey. Posey likes that high fastball. He knows he's got good stuff, but you may see that split right now, or that changeup.
Ishikawa and Parch covering, got it. That was close, and the inning is over. Well done by both Ishikawa and Parch. McGee coming up.
Of the seats in the ballpark have been sold to season ticket members, and we've worked through our on-deck waiting list, and there are no more season ticket locations available to sell for the 2015 season. So don't miss your chance to be at the front of the line right now for the 2016 season tickets. Get on deck right now. To do so, call 415-972-2298.
Casey McGee to lead off for the Giants. No score, last of the second inning. McGee, Perez, and Brown coming up for the Giants. Casey McGee, one of the newest Giants. He was with the Miami Marlins last year, coming back to the U.S. after spending a year with the Rakuten Eagles in Japan. And he takes ball one from Archie Bradley. McGee has done very well down here in a year where the Giants as a team have not hit well so far. McGee has done exceedingly well, hitting .500. That's called a strike. He's had 10 hits and 20 at bats, including 4 doubles and 3 batted in. He had 2 doubles against Oakland yesterday down at Hohokam Stadium in Mesa. And it's 2-1. And he had an outstanding at bat in the first inning of that game against Jesse Chavez, Oakland veteran starter, who got ahead of him 2 strikes, and McGee started battling it out with him and finally hit a 2-run double right along the right field line. Not this time for McGee. He is retired, 1 away. We were talking about Bumgarner winning the Sportsman of the Year award from Sports Illustrated, and not the baseball Sportsman of the Year, just the overall Sportsman of the Year. Not many baseball players have ever won that award in the many years that Sports Illustrated has given it out. And this is when he received the award in New York back in December.
Yeah, that's very cool when you consider it's not just baseball, it's all sport in the entire world. that's how good he was in the postseason.
Tom Verducci, I believe it was, with Sports Illustrated, wrote the accompanying article in the year-end edition for the Sportsman of the Year. And he made the case that it wasn't just one of the greatest postseason pitching performances of all time, the 52+ innings that he pitched and how well he pitched it. It was one of the greatest months of pitching at any time in the history of baseball. You have to go back 60, 70, 80 years to find the last time a guy did in one calendar month what Bumgarner did in October under the brightest lights of the postseason. And in his World Series, you have to go all the way back probably to Christy Mathewson, who had 3 shutouts in a World Series over 100 years ago. If you're going to compare to what Bumgarner did to what has been done before. He's only allowed 1 run in World Series play ever. Along the left field line. That is a fair ball for Perez. And he takes the big turn. He'll hold as Cody Ross digs it out in the deep left field corner.
Now, this is a guy who I'm really excited about this year. Juan Perez has always had good numbers in the minor league. He's never been able to bring it to the big league level. Here they set up in the outside corner, and the ball tails right back over the middle. Nice short compact swing, rakes it down the line, puts himself in scoring position. If you think back about what Perez did last year in the postseason, for a guy who just never really had great consistency in the regular season, he really did well. And that's the type of a shot of confidence that may be the one thing that gets him over the hump. Major league totals are 2,000 or 212 lifetime hitter.
Gary Brown with a foul.
A little bit of not much of a stride, a little bit of a leg kick there. That's a very compact swing. Last year in the NLCS he had 400, then he hit 250 in the World Series. And just played great baseball, and that, I think, may be the difference maker in getting him to be more consistent at the big league level.
Well, he knocked in 3 runs in that World Series as well, including 2 RBIs in the 8th inning of Game 5, which was Bumgarner's game. And you may recall that one, because that was a tight game. Bumgarner ended up pitching a shutout, but it was a tight game most of the way. And then in the 8th inning, Perez hit one off the very top of the center field wall at AT&T Park that knocked in 2 more runs to lengthen that lead, make it just a little bit easier for Bumgarner for the 9th inning. Gary Brown, the hitter right now out of the Giants farm system. He was a first-round draft choice, but has not really progressed through the minor leagues the way the Giants had hoped. He's still a guy with great ability. And that's right on the inside from Bradley for a called strike 2. He's got tremendous speed. He's got some power. He hit a long home run about a week or so ago in Surprise against the Texas Rangers. Into the hole. And Ahmed shows off a very strong arm to get the fleet-footed Gary Brown. And Perez opportunistically taking 3rd. Game 5 of that World Series. This is Perez, the at-bat we were talking about. He crushed this ball. That is a home run in a lot of ballparks. 2 big RBIs there for the Giants. His teammates in that dugout. The place just was going nuts.
Oh, it was a good time. That was a good time.
Here's Adrianza, a switch hitter. Runner at 3rd. No score in the game. 2 down here in the 2nd.
Fastball right in the inside corner. And this is going to be Adrianza's key, to be able to hit that inside fastball. Got a little length to his swing. He's a long arm hitter, and guys are going to be on that side of the plate up around the belt all year long.
Got the call on the inside. A little movement coming back to the plate. 1-1. By the way, we're talking about Perez. He also made a catch in Game 7. In the inning that Bumgarner first came in, when Bumgarner was at his most vulnerable, there was a runner at 2nd and only 1 out. And Aoki, who's now a Giant, came up. And it's easy to overlook this moment. It was a key moment because Aoki clobbered one. He hit a shot right along the left field line, and everybody in the ballpark, including most Giants, thought, well, that's a hit to tie the game. And Perez streaked over and caught the ball. And he had moved himself way over toward the line before the pitch. And when Aoki came to camp this spring, he walked right by Posey and Pence and all the Giant stars, Bumgarner, right through the clubhouse and right over to Juan Perez and said, "Juan, nice catch."
Meat.
Because he thought for sure he tied up that game. And Perez, I asked Perez, well, what's the story about how you positioned yourself? He said, well, when Aoki faced Bumgarner in interleague play in August, he hit a ball along the left field line similar to that. And he remembered that and thought, I better get over there. That is into shallow left. Ahmed with the strong arm, but Adrianza is too fast to be thrown out. And Perez is in to score. The Giants have a 1-0 lead. Ahmed's looking pretty good over there at shortstop, but the speed of Adrianza was the difference. 1-0 Giants.
We just saw Nick Ahmed go into the hole and make a great play, a strong arm play for a shortstop here. Just can't compete with the speed of Adrianza going down the baseline. So a nice little opposite field swing of the bat on a breaking ball that was on the outside corner. Gets himself a knock and him out the Giants lead.
I think Adrianza was kind of stunned that Ahmed even got to that ball. Ground balls go through the infield all the time here in the Cactus League. Infields get sun-baked. They get very hard, very quick. So here is Curtis Parch in the 9th spot of the order, where Tim Hudson had been. 1-0 Giants. Anyway, I asked Perez about moving over to the line. That was his story. He just had this memory from back in August with Aoki. And he thought, he's liable to do that again. Same pitcher, same ballpark. And he said he also looked into Roberto Kelly, who positions the outfielders, when he got over there close to the line, and Kelly gave him the thumbs up as if saying, yeah, just right.
But that's so unusual when you think about Aoki, who's a left-handed hitter, and he's got a great opposite field approach to left field. Now he's facing Madison Bumgarner, who's got a cut fastball, which will have movement running away from the left-handed hitter, and yet you position yourself to take advantage of what you learned early in the year. I mean, that's just good instincts. That's why I believe that Perez is going to do well this year. I think he's going to have a good season. I think it's all coming together for him.
Well, that was just such a key play. On MLB.com, they have the thing now, StatCast, where they measure distances and times and that sort of thing. They said that ball was in the air 2.6 seconds. It was a liner. It was the part of the ballpark where it's a given that that's a base hit. And yet Perez was there to catch it. And that kept the tying run from scoring. Kansas City never did score that tying run. Two and two the count to Curtis Parch. He's making Archie Bradley, the opposing pitcher, work here. Gregor Blanco, the leadoff man, is on deck. The wind has died down a little bit out there. They've been blowing in hard from right field. And Parch is gone. Strike 3 call. On to the 3rd inning. 1-0 Giants. coaches are presented their World Series championship rings presented by Tiffany and Company. And there's only one team can host that event every year, and for the third time in 5 years, it's the Giants. First 40,000 fans attending the ring ceremony night at the ballpark will receive their own replica ring courtesy of AT&T. Now, the ring ceremony and 5 other games are included in the ring ceremony 6-pack. So if you want to make sure you see the ring ceremony and 5 other games, visit sfgiants.com/mini-pack and check it out. I'm John Miller with Mike Krukow. Dwayne Kuiper over on radio side. He'll be along in the middle innings from Scottsdale Stadium, a Cactus League friendly. The Giants and the D-backs. Third inning, Curtis Parch in relief of Tim Hudson. Back for the third. Danny Dorn leads off. And it's ball 1. Giants are ahead 1-0 as we start the third inning. Giants having to learn how to exist, at least for the first weeks of the season, without Hunter Pence.
Good changeup. I mean, that's his ticket.
1 ball, 1 strike. I asked Bruce Bochy about the Giants, and he's hopeful because Pence takes such great care of himself. He eats so well, so healthily. That's a foul ball right past Dave McKay, the first base coach. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That Pence is a quick healer, and he thinks he'll be back before May the 1st. Whatever it is, it's going to be 3-4 weeks or somewhere in there, perhaps that long without Hunter Pence. And I said, well, what's the plan for scoring runs in that period? And the answer certainly made sense. Blew the fastball, the high hard one at 96 right by him. Strike 3. By the way, we want to welcome all of those of you who have joined us now on NBC Bay Area after the golf tournament, which was kind of a thrilling finish.
Jordan Spieth, congratulations.
But we welcome you to the Sonoran Desert for this Cactus League game. The Giants and the D-backs. We're in the third inning. The Giants are leading 1-0. Tim Hudson started. Curtis Parch, when Hudson got up to 35 pitches, came on to get out of a tight spot in the second inning. Giants got their run in the last of the second on a Juan Perez double and a 2-out single by ARI AT SFN. And that's been the only scoring in the game. Aaron Hill, the third place hitter for Arizona, at the plate. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. But Bruce Bochy said that for him, the plan for the Giants and all the success of it or lack of will depend on how well these guys execute, he said. But he wants Aoki with Panic and Pagan as the first 3 hitters. He says there's some speed there, some on-base ability. As Crawford throws out Aaron Hill. And then the power guys in the middle of the order. Posey in the 4th spot, the cleanup spot. Belt 5th and McGee 6th. And he says hopefully, if things work out according to plan, they should get a lot of RBI opportunities in the middle, even without Pence's presence in the lineup. So he's confident that they should be able to hold their own offensively until Pence gets back. When he explained it, I thought, oh, well, that's easy.
Not a problem. We're good.
Cody Ross, the former Giant, singled his first time. Ball 1.
Well, with the addition of Aoki and McGee in the lineup, you got 2 guys that are very similar in what they represent. They represent contact. They represent the ability to work a count, put the ball in play, use the whole field, and they can hit. They're going to get knocks, and as Bruce Bochy likes to say, keep the line moving. That's what they'll do.
That's a swing. First base umpire Jerry Davis on the appeal, making the ruling. 1 ball, 1 strike. By the way, Bochy has not made decisions about who's going to hit leadoff. He's been toying with the idea. He likes the idea of Aoki leading off and Pagan moving down the order maybe to the 3rd spot where he could be more of an RBI man. But he's not decided if he's going to do that or not. He's been working with that often in the spring. This is back on March the 5th, and this was a bad moment for the Giants. Hunter Pence at the plate, and Corey Black, the rookie pitcher for the Cubs, had one get away from him.
You know, it really becomes a perfect storm. You have a young arm out there, Corey Black, who throws hard. He's got movement that runs into a right-handed hitter. And he's going to face Hunter Pence. You know he's going to want to try and get this guy out. He's a hitter of reputation. And likewise, Hunter Pence does not want to have some kid blow him away. So it's early in camp. He cheats a little bit. He gets his fastball. He gets it started early. And his arm goes right into the oncoming fastball. He had nowhere to go.
Yes, Manny Tomas, the very highly touted Cuban emigre at the plate for the D-backs. He singled his first time. But Hunter Pence, and you saw him really just a couple of days later. You came down and saw him down in the clubhouse, and he seemed to be very upbeat, not down at all. That changeup is in the dirt, blocked by Posey. A nice save, holding Ross at first base.
He knew how lucky he was to have that string of consecutive games played, 383, I believe it was. And the game is such that you're one fastball that tails in on you away from a broken bone, and that's what happened to him. And the way he looked at it was that better have it happen now than August 28th, towards the end of the year. And that's the way he looks at things.
Brandon Crawford with the quick flip to second. That's Adrianza covering for the force out on Cody Ross. Curtis Parch gets through it. The Giants at the top of the order. Blanco, Crawford, and Posey coming up. Season opening day schedule for Major League Baseball brought to you by UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals, redefining possible for children in the Bay Area and beyond. It will be the Cardinals at the Cubs in the remodeled Wrigley Field, although the bleachers won't yet be open. They had so much snow and bad weather in the offseason that those reworked bleachers won't yet be open. The bunt by Blanco, and Archie Bradley just got it. And there is one away. Blanco now 1 for 2 in the game. So the Cardinals and Cubs will open up on the Sunday night, and then on Monday the Yankees open at Yankee Stadium with the Blue Jays, the Tigers a home opener with the Twins, Rockies at the Brewers, the Red Sox in Philadelphia interleague play right there on opening day, Baltimore at Tampa Bay, the Mets in Washington, and the White Sox at Kansas City. And you think Max Scherzer likely to pitch that opener for Washington?
Yeah, good chance.
Here's a called strike to Brandon Crawford. The Giants, of course, will open down here in the desert against Arizona, a night game, 7 o'clock on Monday, April the 6th. The Athletics will open at home against Texas. And it all gets going again. This will be the 133rd season in the long storied history of the Giants. And I'm kind of partial to some of the most recent seasons.
Yeah, the last 5 years have been pretty good.
Crawford, he blistered that one along the left field line. Ross over to pick it up, and Brandon will hold with a single. Well struck.
Now, last year we saw Brandon Crawford really elevate his presence at the plate with what he did against left-handed pitching to left field. And I think you're going to see him do that more and more this year against right-handed pitching. This is a good at bat.
Dwight Kuiper is here over on the KNBR side, and he will join Mike Krukow in the 4th inning for the middle innings. Dave Fleming is on assignment. I didn't assign him. Whoever assigned him somewhere other than here. He's been a busy man.
He has.
Dave is so good and in such demand that we just take him when we can get him now. He's doing a lot of college basketball, before that college football. Buster Posey, the hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike, facing Archie Bradley, the talented young prospect of the D-backs. And they've figured him as a guy who's going to be a staple in their rotation for years to come, ever since they drafted him in 2011. Giants are ahead of him 1-0 here in the 3rd. Buster struck out his first time. He blew a fastball right by him to get it. Buster lost the bat on that one. 1-2 the count.
Right back up the stairs again on him. Talked about hitters of reputation when they face a young pitcher, especially a guy with good stuff like Bradley. Well, Buster Posey, I mean, he's got some reputation. So a guy like Bradley strikes him out once, he's going to want to do it again. And guess what? Buster Posey is not going to allow that to happen again. So now this becomes a bit more interesting. Posey here in a 1-2 count.
Crawford at first, 1 out. 1-2 the count. Off the inside. On a movement on that one, running well off the inside corner toward Buster. 2-2. Travis Ishikawa is on deck. Buster Posey, who had another outstanding year, and he was at his best down the stretch, where most catchers, because of the wear and tear on the body, they start to fade offensively down the stretch. Shading the eyes with the hand, and not catching it is Romack. He was fighting the sun all the way on that one. And we're later in the afternoon than the norm here in the Cactus League. And ultimately he lost it.
Normally at 1 o'clock games you see the shadow right behind the center fielder. Here in the afternoon it swings over to where it really starts to become troublesome for the guy in right field. You can see the shadow behind him. And I don't know if Romack saw a whole lot of that ball. Very difficult play. That'll be a knock for Posey. I don't think they make sunglasses dark enough to help you out with the sun as bright as it is in right field. But when you have to patrol the whole Grand Canyon, you know, it's not an easy assignment.
Man, that right field area is big. Got to patrol right field, Colorado River.
That's great.
Travis Ishikawa with 2 men on. Giants getting a break there. The ball lost in the sun by Romack. Ishikawa, who flied out deep to center his first time, hit the ball solidly, but Inciarte caught up to it. Now with a chance to knock in a run or two or more. There's Inciarte again. And the runners will go back. So 2 down, and here comes Casey McGee. Fairly easy play for Inciarte that time. Posey at first, And Crawford at second, and Casey McGee. This is the kind of spot where he really did well last season in Miami. He hit .319 with runners in scoring position for the year. He only hit 4 home runs for the Marlins and knocked in 76 runs.
He's a contact guy. If you look at this swing, not a lot of difference between his 0-2 swing and his 2-0 swing. Very compact hitter.
Out of SoCal High School in Santa Cruz. And a curveball, top foul. Started him with the big hook. 0-1. When McGee first broke into the big leagues a few years back with Milwaukee, he was hitting home runs. His first full year in the big leagues, he had 26 home runs. And he said he kind of got caught up in the home run thing. He came back the next year and wasn't hitting homers. And he got a little pull happy trying to build his home run total back up. That's a base hit to left field. Here comes Crawford around third, and Cody Ross will not take a shot at him, and it is 2-0 Giants. Casey McGee continues to hit .500 here in the Cactus League. 2-0.
Well, he got a good pitch to hit. But again, a good illustration of just how compact his swing is. They try and jam him. If you're going to go middle in to Casey McGee, you better get it in there. I mean, I think he's one of the better middle in guys around. It just stays inside it beautifully. Cashes in the RBI situation. You know, he's got almost 5,000 at bats in professional baseball, and that's a bent arm swing to cover that middle in area. I mean, you learn to hit, you take 5,000 ABs at this level.
Now Juan Perez, who hit a double down the left field line his first time. And it's ball 1.
And he can hit.
6 hits for the Giants now against Archie Bradley. We're in the 3rd inning. 2 on, 2 out. Perez, a chance to pick up an RBI with a base hit. 1-1.
That's a good sink right there on the 1-0 fastball. You get a count, you establish the speed and a movement with the fastball on the first pitch. You fall behind. Now it's a fastball count, 1-0. If you change the grip, change the movement, I mean, it's a different pitch in the eye of the hitter. And that thing completely bottomed out and ran in towards Perez. He swung right over the top of it. Good pitch.
There's Tomas with the force out on Buster Posey to end the inning. Giants get a run. Now stay tuned. Dwayne Kuiper coming over from the radio side. 2-0 Giants.
Everyone sales event is on with incredible spring savings. Get 0% financing on 13 of our most popular models. Toyota, let's go places. Back here at Scottsdale Stadium, Giants on top of the D-backs by a score of 2-0. Diamondbacks no runs on 4 hits. Giants 2 runs on 6 hits. We have a new pitcher now for the Giants. It's going to be Yusmeiro Petit. Petit, 5-year veteran. This is what he has done in 2 starts this spring. 1-1 with a 9.00 ERA. He's going to get things going here in the fourth, and here to tell you all about it, Mo Powell, Dwayne Kuiper.
All right, thanks, Mikey. So Petit to face Romack, and a 2-0 lead for the Giants. They've been stuck on this number 2 for the last 2 games. They scored 4 runs in the last 3 games. So there's a strike from Petit.
First pitch changeup right out of bed. You're going to get all of the movement that Petit can throw at any time. Fastball, he can cut, sink, good changeup, curveball, slider, and a very compact motion. I mean, he could throw a pitch in a broom closet and not hit a wall. That's how compact his motion is. Petit, 6'1", 250-pounder, 30 years old this year.
Hey, he doesn't have to pitch to make the team. Well, that's a nice spring for him.
Such a nice commodity.
Got him holding on his Buster Posey.
And that's the beauty of a first pitch changeup. You establish the off speed pitch first pitch, and you set up the 2-strike fastball at 88 and blows it right by Romack.
The problem with as a hitter for that first pitch changeup is you think he's going to throw 4 more in a row, and then you can't hit 88.
Greatest pitch ever.
Here's Vuzwich, and he takes high. 1 ball and no strikes. Ahmed's on deck. 2-0 Giants.
A bad pitch right there, just to get it in. Slider. Alfonso Marquez played umpire. He's more of a low ball guy. Did not give him the pitch.
And that's bounced foul.
Hey, it's spring training for umpires too.
It is, absolutely. Have we made that disclaimer about us yet?
Absolutely. Spring training for broadcasters, no doubt. We don't usually make that disclaimer till the 7th or 8th inning when we get all the number 88s and 99s and 103s into the game. The Les Johnsons of the world.
Swing and a miss.
Late on 85. Talked about how compact a motion he is. Just not a lot of windup. A little short circle to get into a high 3/4 short arm release. And that very short arm action that he has on the arm action is deceiving to the speed of the ball. Even at 86 miles per hour, you can be late on it because his arm action is so quick. You react to it. Or don't react to it, I guess I should say. Deception, so important for a pitcher. If you've got some funkiness to your delivery, it is absolutely to your advantage. The one thing that hitting or pitching coaches will tell you, though, is if you have something funky in your delivery, make sure it's not something that's funky that will hurt you. But Petit does not have risk in his delivery. Very compact.
High and deep down the left field line. The wind's going to blow this one foul. That might have made it. I think it hit that concession stand.
Yeah, I definitely had the distance. The wind today coming out of right field. You don't normally see this wind. And no doubt that ball was pushed by the breeze. And the breeze has picked up since the first pitch of this game.
By the way, Petit, in parts of 3 different seasons, pitched for these Diamondbacks. Look out.
Well, they thought he was going to be a part of their rotation for a long time. It just didn't happen. So he fell out of favor with the Diamondbacks and had to reprove himself. And he's done so here in the Giants organization. He's got a little over 4 years in the big leagues.
Signed by the Giants to a minor league contract in January of 2012. Well, he made a big impact in 2014, I can tell you that.
That 18-inning game.
On the ground to second. Adrianza took Ishikawa 2-0.
Well, the NBC Bay Area Investigative Unit, it's the largest on-air team of investigative journalists dedicated to holding the powerful accountable. And you can watch award-winning stories that have helped make the Bay Area a better place at NBCBayArea.com/investigations. NBC Bay Area, we investigate.
Yeah, what did we say about that outing, Mike, against Washington? He had a quality start in relief.
Yeah, 6 innings of shutout baseball in that 18-inning victory that the Giants had. And a lot of people tell you he's the MVP of that game.
He was also 1-0 against the Cardinals. 3 innings, 1 hit. And he was 1-0 in the World Series. 3-0. He gave up a couple of runs in that World Series, though. I knew there was a blemish somewhere.
Well, not much of a pimple. A lot of heroes last October.
Petit catch that one high. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Well, for a guy who was signed as a non-roster invitee, to be able to accomplish what he has done in a Giants uniform, and he will be remembered forever by Giants fans. Pretty remarkable story.
Jake Lamb is on deck should Ahmed reach here in the 4th inning with the Giants leading 2-0. Out of play down the right field line. 2-2.
And that's the beauty of doing something in the postseason, is it does not get forgotten. Your team is the last team standing.
Well, if it goes the other way, you're not forgotten either.
No, there's risk involved. Believe you me.
Adrianza side retired. Nice inning for Petit. Gary Brown's going to lead things off. Here it's 2-0 Giants.
Well, this Tuesday, it's going to be St. Patrick's Day. And in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we have an Irish Night ticket offer, only $17 a ticket. And you can choose from multiple games, including, of course, the Irish Night special event. Go to sfgiants.com/tickets to purchase. Minimum purchase of 2 tickets through this offer.
2-0 Giants here in the bottom of the 4th. Hunter Pence. He was saw Hunter Pence today. We chatted with him for a little bit. He's a good dude.
Yes, he is.
He's a good dude.
He's not our favorite Irishman, though.
Gary Brown bluffs a bunt. All right, I'll bite. Who is?
Well, Tim Flannery.
He quit. It's just never a good look on Hunter Pence. There's a shot right back to Chafin, who's the new pitcher. Andrew Chafin, 1 out. All right, let's check in with Amy G. And who is she with?
I'm with your favorite Irishman, Tim Flannery. You win over Hunter Pence for Dwayne and Mike upstairs. Welcome back out of retirement. You look beautiful.
Well, you know, thank you. It's great to be here. The guys, I really miss them, and the coaches are the ones I really miss being around. So it's been fun to be able to spend a day with them, and tomorrow I'm going to spend another day. But when I heard they were playing out in Goodyear, I go, I'm not going.
Okay, this is my fun time. I get to throw Dwayne Kuiper under the bus and see if he's listening to us. So earlier today, he said, "You getting Flans? Ask him a question for me." I said, "Okay." He goes, "Ask him, just say, hey, you quit. Why are you here?"
Well, I'm going to retire again tomorrow after I leave.
He's just jealous. How is retirement? How is life after baseball, even though you haven't been able to truly experience it yet since the real season hasn't started?
I've been more busy now than I think I've ever been, just catching up on a few things with my family and my wife, playing a lot of music, and I'm going to go to Costa Rica next week, go surfing. Just some of the things I never got to do during this time over the last 30 years.
One thing you said earlier, I heard you talking, that you had to get away from the game to realize what you guys pulled off. Tell people what that means to you.
Well, as a coach, as soon as you win a world championship, you have 2.5 months and you're back in spring training to do it again. And after you do one and then you win another time and then you win 3 of them, now that I've been removed, and I told this to the coaches, I go, you guys don't understand, I don't think, the magnitude of what we pulled off. And when you're away from it and you look back and you go, we have just created history, we're a part of history that not many teams ever get to do. You feel really proud and really great. And I think that's what I told the coaches today. I go, you guys were great, and 3 world championships is something you ought to really understand about.
All right, that's 3 outs. That's Tim Flannery. He's going to join us this season as an analyst. We love you, and we're going to go to break right now, so stay with us.
The Volkswagen.
As all the baseball world was, that our friend Al Rosen had passed away on Friday night, and you can see Al 91 when he passed away. Words are hard to describe what a great guy he really was, and what a great boss he really was, and what he meant to this Giants organization.
Well, he and Roger Craig, and incredible 1-2 punch and brought respectability back to this great organization. But Al Rosen was a great man, and he taught me a lot about professionalism. And he lived a beautiful life, passing away at age 91, but his memory will live with me forever, and a lot of people as well.
This is Lamb, by the way. Jake Lamb. Well, I do know this, Mike, and I was just starting out as a broadcaster. You were still a player, and a good one, when Roger Craig and Al Rosen walked into that clubhouse. And I don't think I've ever seen a more dramatic impact that two guys made in one day.
Well, if you remember back in 1985, we lost 100 games. They took over when Tom Howler and Jim Davenport were relieved of their responsibilities. Rosen became the general manager, the president, and Roger Craig, of course, the manager. And at that time, nobody in the league wanted to come into San Francisco because it was a tough ballpark to play in. But the guys that moaned and groaned the loudest were the Giants players. And the one thing that Al Rosen said is that is over. This is the greatest home field advantage, and that is how we're going to look at this ballpark. And if anybody doesn't like it here, let me know now, and I'll get rid of you. He let 13 guys go that offseason.
This is out of play down the left field line. It's 2-2.
And those of us that remained, we never, ever talked about our ballpark in a negative fashion again. And it absolutely became our home field advantage.
And Robbie Thompson and Will Clark, those two had the nerve to throw him out there.
Yeah.
Throw him out there.
They had, I think there was 9 rookies in that 86 season.
Right at Brown. 1 out. He was a terrific third baseman, and he won the MVP in 1953, and you could argue and maybe lose that argument if you chose some other third baseman that had a better single year than that one. And he missed the Triple Crown by his last at bat. If he had got a base hit, he'd have won it. 4-time All-Star, worked for the Yankees, the Astros, and the Giants. This is Inciarte who takes a strike. He retired early. He had 3 or 4 more good years in him, but there was 3 boys that he needed to raise, and he shut it down. He went to work for Prudential Bache in Cleveland. Pitches high and wide. Not many Jewish players in those days, and he caught a little grief for that. Was a boxer in high school, and I don't think he lost too many rounds. It scared me when he was 75, and I wasn't even playing.
He could do some damage in the general manager's booth during a game. If you're out the mound and Candlestick, you gave up a run when you had a lead that tied or put your team behind, you could hear the ruckus going off in his booth up there just behind first base, up in the luxury seats, or the luxury suites, I should say. But it's just a winner, just a man of accountability in everything that he did.
He could go from scary or from 0 to scary in about 2 seconds.
And back again.
And back. 3-1 to Inciarte, 2-0 Giants. And that's high, ball 4.
In 1985, we lost 100 games, and then 1987, we go to the playoffs for the first time in 15 years, and this was the final out off the bat of John Kruk. See Roger Craig coming in, and what a celebration we had there in San Diego to get back to the playoffs. For most of us, it was our first time. And there's Al Rosen, who got more champagne poured on him than anybody.
Bob Leary. Seriously, I thought the ball was going out.
We all did.
I thought it was going out. Yeah, that was the year that Al Rosen was executive of the year. Here's Doran, who takes a strike.
It was just a great story. I mean, he made us all pros. I mean, There was an accountability with him that was so infectious to everybody that wore that uniform. And it was an era that turned the franchise around.
Pop foul and out of play. It's no balls and 2 strikes to Danny Dorn. Aaron Hill is on deck.
So if you're a Giants fan, toast Al Rosen.
Al wasn't afraid to have a cocktail or two.
No.
Remember, he had a heart problem, and the Sheridan, where the Giants stayed at years and years ago when we were playing, is probably what, 5 miles away?
Yep.
That spring he had the heart issue, and they told him he walked every day.
Walked every day to the ballpark.
I remember people would try to pick him up. Not a good idea to even offer.
No.
Danny Dorn, 1-2. 5th inning, 1 out.
We had a rule back then. We had a lot of old pitchers, and old pitchers, in his mind, should not play golf. It was too hard on your arm.
Runner goes, swinging a bouncing ball, and McGee on the backhand. Nice play. Dorn's retired. The second goes Inciarte.
So that spring we had a rookie on the team, Mike Aldretti from Monterey, and he knew how we could get on and play Cypress, one of the greatest golf courses in the world. And he said, if I make the team, I can get us on Cypress. We have an off day like the first couple weeks of the season. I can get you on. So we're praying this guy makes the team. Well, he makes the team.
Yeah.
So we had to keep this hush-hush. We played a Sunday game. We had a Monday off, and we're going to go down and play Cypress. So we go down and play Cypress, and I had my first hole-in-one.
Lo and behold, a hole-in-one.
It was in the paper the next day. Mike Krukow had a hole-in-one, a par 3, their third hole in Cypress. So I get to the ballpark, and there's a clipping of that little thing in the paper on my locker that says "C. Al Rosen." So I know I'm going to get chewed on. I get up, walk up to his office there at Candlestick, walk into his office, and he proceeds to take a breath. And I mean, he laid into me for the next 3 minutes. And I mean, it was, his face started off pink and it was purple when he was done. And he was talking about, you're one of the leaders of the team, but we have a rule here. We have a rule for a reason. You're the guy that can't be breaking any rules, and it's ridiculous. I was there. And the last thing he said was, he was chewing me out was, what did you hit? So 6-iron Al. He goes, all right, get out of here.
That's his way of saying he got it. Petit chasing Inciarte back. On deck is Cody Ross. And that pitch is high, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
And we really could fill a phone book with the stories of Al Rosen and Roger Craig. What a tremendous team those guys were.
Inciarte at second, 2 outs here in the 5th. And now Petit really paying a lot of attention to Inciarte. With 1 out, not a bad idea. With 2 outs, you can't let the guy distract you. Three and 1. Giants scored a run on the second and a run in the third. D-backs trying to cut that lead in half with a base hit right here. The pitch. And that pop-up is going to be in play, and Buster Posey puts it away to end the inning. Rest in peace, Al Rosen. We miss you already. By get great deals at McDonald's with the McD app. Download the McD app on your smartphone and get great deals at participating Greater Bay Area McDonald's. Visit McDapp.com. 2-0 Giants. Oliver Perez is the new pitcher. After that, I don't know, nor do I care. I don't.
Well, Oliver Perez having a good spring. Third time he's come out there. A couple of knocks in 2 innings. No walks, 3 strikeouts. Oliver Perez is going to, at some point this season, early on, he's going to get his 10 years at the big league level. And when he's right, you're going to see a low to mid-90s fastball, big curveball, a little slider at times. From Culiacan, Mexico.
I played there.
In Culiacan?
Yep.
How was it?
Did I tell this story the last time?
I don't remember.
I called home and my dad said, fireworks? I go, I asked the guy I was with, those fireworks? No. Those are gunshots. Ooh. They're fireworks, Dad. Make sure you tell Mom that, too. So here's Blanco. And Blanco getting like, I'm going to take this pitch, and he takes it high. 1 ball and no strikes.
Not going to see a lot of belt high strikes called by Alfonso Marquez, the plate umpire. He likes him down around the knees.
Blanco fouls it out of play. Lolly's catching. O'Brien at first.
Pitcher spot second. Lolly is 7th, and O'Brien is 9th.
High to Blanco.
Well, this is the time of day where you start to see a lot of the rest of the organization, and this really has become an important time for teams.
On the ground to Hill, and Hill will throw out Blanco. All right, Amy G, what's up?
All right, guys, I mentioned today's a special day. Not only is Tim Flannery visiting, but we all got a chance to meet 15 U.S. Marines who are here from the Wounded Warrior Battalion West in San Diego. They are special guests of Jake Peavy right there with the San Francisco Giants. He's had them all come out. They got to hang out on the field before the game. They were all introduced and recognized. Of course, we're so grateful for all of their efforts. They get to stay for today's game, and then they'll be able to stay for a couple days here in Arizona and check out a White Sox game and a Padres game, guys.
All right, Amy, that's very, very good stuff as Crawford lines this one into center field. Inciarte tracks it down. Barry Zito did it every spring. Jake Peavy follows his footsteps. And we really can't say enough about the people that were on the field. And we certainly can't say enough about the likes of Jake Peavy and the players that do those types of things. They're paying for this.
Well, every cause is a great cause, and certainly this is one of them, as we get to honor our heroes.
Here's Buster Posey. Perez slings that one outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
But when I was talking about the last 4 or 5 innings of a ball game in spring training, because it gives minor leaguers and guys who are right there on the cusp of becoming major leaguers opportunities to play at this level. And for an organization, it's a chance to evaluate guys to see if they do have what it takes to come up to the big leagues, because whatever 25 guys you break with in April, it isn't going to be the same 25 in September. You're going to need your minor league organization to help you out.
On the ground to Tomas, and that'll end the inning. That's the first time I've seen Buster Posey hit with sunglasses on. 2-0 Giants.
Toyota's #1 for everyone sales event is right here with incredible savings on every Toyota. Okay, we're going to take a look at the Giants who have started in right field this spring. And Nori Aoki with 5 leads the parade. Juan Perez with 4. Justin Maxwell, Jared Parker, Hunter Pence, Mac Williamson, Henry Aaron, Roberto Clemente, Ted Williams, and Mel Ott. That rounds out the players to start in right field this year for the Giants.
And Bruce Bochy said yesterday, you've seen the last of Nori Aoki in right field. Here's Cody Ross. And a breaking ball for a strike. And nothing knock against Aoki. I just think that in the ballpark at AT&T Park, he would like to have someone that is just a little better. Did you hear the nice ovation for Cody Ross when he was introduced in his first at bat?
And he'll get that till he leaves this earth.
Absolutely.
Giants fans do not forget. And Cody Ross Had everything to do with the Giants winning their first championship in San Francisco in 2010. Very popular guy in the clubhouse. Very popular guy in around town. A fan favorite, and rightfully so. Very charismatic.
Here's the 2-1 to Cody Ross and a big swing. Had a horrible injury 2 years ago running down the line. Just totally tore up his hip. And there was some serious thoughts that he was not going to play again. And the 2-2. And this is lifted into right center field. Brown got a good jump. For comprehensive coverage of everything orange and black, check out pregame live and postgame live before and after every Giants telecast on Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports. Here's Tomas. And that pitch is a strike on the outside corner.
Petita's right. You'll see him shave both sides of the plate with that fastball, as you see Adam Duvall, who's coming to third base. Matt Duffy now in playing short. Mr. Posey did not leave the game after his last at bat. He's still in there behind the plate.
Oh, 2. Romack on deck. 2-0 Giants. 6th inning. And a bit of a hanger, and Tomas says, thank you very much. A 1-out single.
Now, the Giants trying to figure out, Yasmani Tomas. Tomas came over to the Diamondbacks in the offseason out of Cuba. Free agent. Signed for a large chunk of change. And the story on Tomas is he can hit. Cuban League, 289 lifetime hitter, but with lots of power. He uses the whole field.
Check his size.
6'2", 255. That's the kind of guy you want charging the mound.
Breaking ball down low. 1 ball and no strikes. 1 out, 1 on. We have a pinch runner at first. So Brandon Drury is going to pinch run. Lally's on deck. Foul. Ugly finder.
Already?
Eric Ortega. Got him.
One of the Giants trainers. It's usually a trainer or Billy Hayes.
Well, we're going to say it a lot with Billy Hayes now on the field.
Billy Hayes had been a bullpen catcher and the catching coach for the Giants. And for Billy Hayes, who's been in baseball a long, long time, he does not have to catch any more bullpens. He is done. No more squat time for Billy Hayes. He's now the first base coach for the Giants.
High to left field is it's now starting to carry, and Blanco's going to put it away. That pop-up turned into be something on the warning track.
Had a little personality.
Kind of like that ball in 1987 at Jack Murphy Stadium.
John Kruk.
Donnie Robinson on the mound. Thought it was gone. I think Steve Physiak made the call. I think he did too.
I think everybody.
Actually, I think he said pop up to left. New pitcher coming in. We'll let you know who he is when we come back. Yasmerdo Petit receives a nice round of applause.
2-0 Giants here with 1 out at the top, or 2 outs rather, at the top of the 5th inning. New pitcher now for the Giants will be right-hander Cody Hall. And this is a guy you should remember his name. They're very high on this guy. He's having a good camp. Hall, a rookie, 6'4", 220-pounder, 27 years old, out of Southern University, a former 19th round pick by the Giants in 2011. This is what he's done in the spring. Look at the strikeouts, 6 against no walks in 4 innings. And his minor league totals are pretty impressive. 12 and 8 in 4 years with a 2.31 ERA with 46 saves, 238 strikeouts, 186 innings. And how does he do it, you might ask?
I'm asking.
And he's got a low to mid-90s fastball. He'll go 2 and 4 seams with the fastball. He's got a little nickel slider, but he has got a big league split. And that is what has really opened up the eyes of all the Giants brass here. Spring training, he's been one of those stories where this guy is on the map big time.
So here's Lally, and he takes a pitch wide.
And that was the split. The split's got a little downward bite to it that runs away from lefties and righties. More effective, obviously, when he gets it down. Heading to count 0-1, he was trying to put that thing down low, so he left it up. That's not where he wants to throw it, but that's his bread and butter.
Drury with his lead, and there's a dribbler to the backstop foul. Guillermo Quiros came in on a double switch, so he is now catching, so Buster Posey does indeed depart. Giants 2, D-backs nothing. 6th inning. And the pitch, and it's low and away.
Tim Flannery catching up with Hunter Pence.
I thought he quit.
Well, Tim Flannery is back just for a couple of days. Cameo appearance.
It's great to have him back.
Yeah, you bet. He's as good as it gets right there.
Here's the 2-2. On the ground, Adrianza on the move, side retired. Nice play. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Travis Ishikawa is going to lead things off. Looking good, Flynn.
Watch.
Here at Scottsdale Stadium, Giants are leading 2-0. And now let's check in with Amy G.
All right, gentlemen. Brandon Crawford, nice enough to join us after your day on the field. And let's just start with what's been going on with you. And you've had some shoulder soreness. So Mama and me and fans at home need to know how you're doing.
I'm doing better.
just kind of monitoring my throws. They've just been, taking count of my throws and stuff like that. And if I can get a couple days off, they're finding them for me. So I'm starting to feel better, though. I've played short, I think, 3 or 4 times now. So it's starting to feel better.
Madison's trying to give us a hard time, but we're going to just work through it because we're professionals. And a fan favorite back today, and I know he's one of yours, Tim Flannery, in uniform. I mean, it looks like, hasn't missed a beat here. He hasn't been gone that long, but we know it's going to hurt a little bit during the season when he's not out there with you guys. What did Tim mean to you?
He was awesome. He just gave the dugout so much energy, and just coming in the clubhouse and saying good morning or something during a day game. He just gave you a little energy burst, and he was just a positive guy. And it's pretty fun to play for a coach like that.
There's one of the best parts about this club is all the unsung heroes, and kind of everybody always coming up at different times. And something that doesn't get talked about a lot is Ron Wotus. He's the bench coach, of course, at the beginning of spring training when Boch underwent the heart procedure. Ron had to step in, but spring training is kind of his baby. He runs it, and he individually works with you and the infielders as an infielder coach. What does he do at this level? You're a professional athlete. How do you get coached at this point in your career?
He does a lot. Like you said, he is kind of under the radar a little bit, and he does all the homework on scouting reports for us, infielders especially. He looks at a lot of video on every team that comes in and plays us, and kind of gives me a scouting report to base off of, and I kind of move around from there. But he gives me an idea of where to start, and for the rest of the team, especially spring training, he's doing everything. He's giving us the morning meetings, and for Boch, even in the dugout during the games, he's giving hey, well, go get whoever, go get Hicks or whoever to find somebody, and they're usually somewhere where he's running around trying to find somebody, and it's funny, but he actually does a lot for this team.
I feel like we all can do and everybody can guess who that is. Brandon Crawford, thank you for your time. He's done for the day, and let's get it back up to you guys.
All right, Brandon Crawford.
He does a great Boch.
He does. So here's Duvall. Adam Duvall batting for the first time.
Batting order. Now goes Inciarte, Burrito, Ibarra.
And a first pitch strike to Adam Duvall.
Marshall, Molly,
Evan Marshall, the right-hander for these Diamondbacks, is a guy that they're going to lean on pretty much this year. Established himself last year. Low 90s fastball, a couple of breaking balls, and a good off-speed changeup or split. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a good one.
So you're saying that today will not be the last time we're going to see him against the Giants. Maybe see him on April 6th.
You will see him on April 6th. He will make this club out of Kansas State.
All right, there's your new defense. Bus, Inciarte, Brito, Socrates Brito, by the way.
That's a big league name right there.
Drury, Ibarra is at second. O'Brien, Lally. That's it. Go get them, guys.
There's Socrates Brito.
Jammed on the ground. 2 outs. The first 14 games that the Giants play, 7 of them will be against the Diamondbacks. Yeah, Brandon Crawford talking about Ron Wotus.
Good baseball people right there.
He's a good man. I like Ron Wotus. Always have.
He does not get enough applause either. Kind of goes unnoticed, but not by the players.
The best way to get under his skin, and it is so easy, and you could do it every day, is to just go up to Ron Wotus and say anything about his infielders. Do you think Crawford's losing a step? There it goes, 0 to ticked off in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, oh yeah. Outfielders, pitchers, catchers.
Doesn't matter, yeah, he'll agree with you. There's a high fly ball down the left field line. And over there is Bus. I hope that didn't hit somebody in the head because it bounced really high. Okay, let's see. What did it hit?
Heads up.
It might have.
The guy should have made a play on it. A little disappointed.
Perez doubled and scored in the second. Down low. John Miller will be back, by the way, in the seventh.
How is it over there doing radio by yourself?
It's awesome. I tell you what, it's. I don't have anybody over there that disagrees with me.
Well,
I don't have anybody over there. You know, there's a little flare to left, and that's a base hit. I don't have anybody stepping on what I'm saying.
Well, we'll just take care of that over here.
Yeah. So here's Brown. Perez now 2 for 3.
Second hit of the day for Juan Perez, having a good spring.
Brown against the lefty Andrew Chafin. Hit a bullet that Chafin caught. So Brown robbed of a base hit. He's 0 for 2. Five hits for the Diamondbacks, 7 hits for the Giants.
No gloves for Mr. Gary Brown up there at the plate. Not many of those guys around. But you know what? You see more guys with no gloves than guys with one glove. In our generation, that's all you saw, guys with one glove, because we were too cheap to buy the second glove.
Yeah, you're right. And they were golf gloves, which lasted about a week. Two and 0. Or make it no balls and no strikes. It's 2-0. And Brown shows bunt, and there's a strike.
The other thing too is it was hard to find golf gloves for your right hand. I mean, left-handed golfers golf gloves, you just didn't find them. So because of that, baseball players had one batting glove, their left hand. And they're too cheap. Now you look at guys' lockers and they'll have 20 boxes of gloves.
Runner goes, and this is hit on the ground to Ahmed, and that is going to end the inning. John Miller will be back as we head to the 7th. Here it's 2-0 Giants.
Well, download the redesigned NBC Bay Area News app for iPhone and get top stories and videos, push notifications for breaking news, and real-time interactive radar. Plus, you can watch all your favorite NBC shows live. So download the redesigned NBC Bay Area News app today. A beautiful day here at Scottsdale Stadium. Giants leading these Diamondbacks as we head to the top of the seventh inning by a score of 2-0. And here to tell you once again all about it, John Miller.
All right, thanks, Krug. There's a look out beyond the left field wall at Scottsdale Stadium. People sitting up in the grass-covered hillside out there. Beach towels, blankets, like a picnic out there. So here is Cody Hall with ball one to Nick Ahmed. Change for the Giants. Daniel Carbonell, the Giants' own Cuban emigre, now in left field. Gregor Blanco is finished for the day. Now a swing and a base hit to right center for Ahmed on his birthday. That's his birthday hit.
A little jam shot.
And now Pete O'Brien will come up. This will be his first at bat. O'Brien. There used to be a Pete O'Brien that played, seems to me, back in the 80s, maybe into the 90s, but at least in the 80s.
Seattle?
Started out with the Texas Rangers. And I think he might have been a Ranger during the time that Bobby Valentine was the manager. But he was a left-handed hitter. He had some power, and he was a high on-base guy. And his mom and dad were such big fans of his that they were retired, and they had bought one of those RVs or whatever you call it.
Motorhome.
And they traveled around baseball to watch him play while he was either in Texas or on the road with the Rangers. When you play in Texas, even though Texas is a big state, there are a lot of short flights. You know, a lot of places that you could drive in a short time. Texas Rangers, by the way, their flight mileage in a year is about maybe 1/4 of what the Giants will fly in a season.
1/4?
Yeah.
That upsets me. The Mariners now. That's the team that logs the most miles.
The Mariners, and in their division, they got two teams in Texas. They have 6 trips to Texas every year. In the division.
And you better make sure you have a good plan if you're playing for the Mariners.
Cody Hall, the pitcher for the Giants. He got the final out of the 6th inning.
Giants are getting a new plane this year. Actually pretty excited about that.
Well, it's something that some other teams have decided to do, and part of the idea is that the Giants feel like it'd be better for guys like Buster Posey, whose body takes a beating during the major league season as a catcher. And there are a lot of guys' bodies take a beating during the course of a season. And the normal plane, you have a few rows of first-class seats up front, and then you've got the rest of the plane is coach seating, and the players sit toward the back of the plane. And in the smaller coach seats, more confining. But this plane, I guess, is going to have all first-class seats.
I think it's 90 first-class seats for the Giants entourage.
2-1 the count. And a soaring fly ball. Duffy out from short. Brown in from center. It's Brown. Out number 1. So Peter O'Brien is retired. 2-0. The Giants ahead here in the 7th inning.
Well, when I got first to the big leagues, I was with the Chicago Cubs, and we didn't have big time travel. You just didn't. You're in the middle of the country. Our longest flight was to San Diego. Then went to Philadelphia, and things changed. And then to San Francisco, and things really changed. Remember back then, the National League West included Atlanta, Houston, and Cincinnati. Those were in the Western Division, and those were long road trips. Did a lot of time in the plane when you came over to San Francisco.
Here's Inciarte. Giants played, in those days, you played 18 games against every team in your division and 12 in the other division. There were only 2 divisions. So you'd have 2 trips everywhere else, but in your own division, the 3 trips. Inciarte, the leadoff man, has walked twice in this game, has grounded out once. Base hit to right. And Ahmed will stop at second as Perez gets it back in. So 2 men on with 1 man out. And that will bring up Brito. Another aspect of this plane that the Giants will have all year long. I was reading something where there was an article somebody wrote about the whole process, because there are other teams that do this. One of the teams, and it might have been Miami, they have a training table on that plane. So there's a guy who's got, needs some work done. They can actually put him on a table, and the trainers can work on him. And the pitch is in there for a called strike. I asked Dave Greshner if the Giants would have something like that in their plane. And he said he hadn't heard about that yet, but he said it sounded like there'd definitely be more room where they could be able to work on a guy if he needs work. But it's just, I think a lot of guys, especially with a back issue, it can get worse sitting in one of those coach seats for several hours on a long flight. Socrates Brito is the hitter. Up for the first time. 0-2 the count to him. There is Carbonell, and that is out number 2. I asked Roberto Kelly about Carbonell as an outfielder. Kelly said he's got a lot of tools as a hitter, and he likes him. But he says he's still a raw talent in terms of the outfield. He said he has a few things to learn to be a better outfielder.
Well, when you start talking about evaluating an outfielder, the first thing that former outfielders and outfield coaches will talk about is first step, and then they'll talk about routes to the ball. And your first step is instinctive. I mean, and you have to play a lot of innings to get that first step. There's just no way to shortcut that. You'll have guys who come over. We watched Deion Sanders, who is one of the fastest guys we've ever seen ever. But he had a horrible first step in baseball. He hadn't played enough baseball to develop a first step to go get a ball. Now, he had speed that could overcome a bad first step.
Ibarra into left center. There is Brown, and that retires the side.
And he has a great first step, Gary Brown.
2 hits, 2 left. Adrianza due up, last of the 7, 2-0. Back here in the desert, fans, time to check out the Giants' 6-pack ticket options. There's the ring ceremony 6-pack, the promotions and special events combo 6-pack, and the postseason heroes bobblehead 6-pack. Each 6-pack gives you 6 games starting for as little as $149. Each 6-pack is a limited offer and subject to selling out, so now is the time to act. Visit sfgiants.com/mini-pack to get all of the details. Changes for the D-backs as everybody takes their seats, ready for the last of the seventh after the 7th-inning stretch. D-backs have J.C. Ramirez in the pitch. And a new center fielder, Evan Marzilli, now in center field. And they also have a new shortstop who's in the game. Is that Danny Worth? Danny Worth now at shortstop for Arizona as Ramirez misses with ball 2 to Adrianza. Adrianza got an infield hit to knock in the Giants' first run of the game back in the 2nd inning. Rounded out to short his last time.
See the numbers for J.C. Ramirez, 4th time that he's come in this spring. 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. He's got good stuff. May remember J.C. Ramirez as a member of the Phillies. Broke into the big leagues with the Phillies back in 2013. He's got 85 days at the big league level. Still young, 26 years old. Big guy, though, from Managua, Nicaragua. 6'4", 250-pounder.
That ball is just smoke, but foul. J.C. Ramirez is the 5th Arizona pitcher of the day. Archie Bradley, our first look at him, the very highly touted prospect out of the Arizona farm system, about whom we have heard so much. Has a swing and a fly ball into deep center field. Marzilli way back there. No. Grabs it on the bounce and holds Adrianza to a double. It's 430 feet to straightaway center field. That's a big part of this yard. And Marzilli could not catch up to that one.
I think he was a little deceived by this. This ball gets up and backspins. And it just keeps right on going. And this is against the wind. Wind's coming across the field from right to left. So good power on the fly ball to center from Adrianza. Most of his power is down around the knees, and he got one to his liking. So just like that, Giants get a leadoff hitter in scoring position.
Here comes Guillermo Quiroz, the veteran catcher, up for the first time. There's Danny Worth now at shortstop for the D-backs. And a foul by Quiroz. Giants have 8 hits in the game. That double, the 2nd extra base hit for the Giants. Adrianza, of course, is a guy trying to win a job with the Giants. He was only hitting .222 before today, but he's had 2 hits and 3 at bats today. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Quiroz. Tim Hudson started for the Giants, went 1 1/3, got up to 35 pitches, and they took him out. Parch, the hard throwing right-hander, and I know you were pretty impressed with the stuff that he brought out there with him. He went 1 2/3 innings, including getting out of a bases loaded 1-out jam when he came on for Hudson in the 2nd. Here's Mero Petit, 2 2/3 innings. Spin move there by Ramirez, with Worth breaking in behind Adrianza at 2nd, but the only guy who ended up looking real surprised there was Ramirez, who just seemed to look at it as a bluff towards 2nd. Now Ramirez from the stretch. And that's at the knees of the inside for a called strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Daniel Carbonell is on deck. Giants with single runs in the 2nd and 3rd innings. Their only runs of the day. Casey McGee had a 2-out RBI single in the 3rd, and Adrianza the RBI single in the 2nd. And those have been the only runs scored in this game. In the dirt, and that will move him up. Stays in play as it hits the railing in front of the Arizona dugout. Adrianza now to third base on a wild pitch.
Big league wild pitch here. Nightmare if you're a catcher. You get a scud, ball bouncing out there in front of home plate. Remember, the balls that are the toughest to predict are fastballs and splits. That thing just took off.
Blake Lally, the catcher for Arizona. The infield comes in now. Nobody out. And that one right off the mask of Blake Lally. Still 2-2 the count.
Tell you the great thing about catchers, though, is right now Blake Lally is wearing it inside his helmet. He's mad that he did not block that ball. I mean, you could throw it out there at 99 miles an hour, 10 feet in front of home plate, and have no clue where it's going to go. But a catcher will feel like he should block it, especially a runner in scoring position at second base. But that would have been a good play had he been able to do so. Not in his favor.
Swing. Yes. The plate umpire, Alfonso Marquez, rings him up. That was a bad ball, and he tried to check his swing, but it was too late. Strike three.
All right, did he go? Oh, yeah. See ya. This absolutely gnaws on a hitter to check a swing and cost yourself an at-bat in the third strike. I mean, they don't like to strike out, but they'd rather get a full rip at it. Check a swing and have to go back. That's a rough A-B.
So one out. Adrianza still at third. Here is Carbonell. High and tight for ball one. Giants signed Carbonell last year. And a young guy coming out of Cuba, Carbonell, 24 years old. In fact, he's not 24 just yet. 2 weeks from today, he'll turn 24. He defected from Cuba in October of 2013. And then the Giants signed him last June. He spent time last year in the Arizona Rookie League here before they moved him up to San Jose. Played 21 games at San Jose and hit .344. 3 homers and 3 triples in 93 at bats. That's hit softly, and that will keep Adrianza at third as Worth throws him out. Carbonell not able to get him home. When a guy, even over, it was only 93 at bats, not for a full season, a .344 average at San Jose will get your attention.
Yeah, well, get you an invite to big league camp. But that at bat's not going to make him smile.
Carbonell unable to get that run home. He's had 2 hits and 12 at bats in the Cactus League so far. Now Matt Duffy, another guy trying to win a job here with the Giants. Runner at third, infield backed up, normal depth, and he really waited on that ball. That breaking ball had to look like it was going to come in and drill him, but he stayed right there, and the ball missed as it broke in toward the plate.
See what he has done in spring, having a good camp. 348, 1 big fly, 3 ribeyes. No way. He's a player, and one thing that Matt Duffy did last year, and his time being called up late in the season and then in postseason, is he put himself on the map in the world of baseball. A lot of people really fell in love with this kid.
Well, part of the reason he got brought up by the Giants, he was in Double-A. He was not the obvious guy to be brought up from the minor leagues.
Going to Giants game?
That slider off the inside and up. And the count now is 3-0. But he hit .332 in Double-A for the Richmond team. And again, that's a real pitcher's league. .332. He was having a tremendous season. So they brought him up.
Well, we talk about instincts with Daniel Carbonell in the outfield, and how you tell a good outfielder. Well, the same thing is true about base runners. You have to play a lot of baseball to get a good first step in the base pass. And this is one of the things that the Giants really liked about Duffy last year when he was put in pinch run roles. The guy can run the bases, and he's got a great first step.
Called a strike on the inside, and never more so than in Game 2 of the League Championship Series in St. Louis, where he scored the tying run of the game late in that game from second base on a wild pitch. Got the good jump from second, and the catcher didn't know where the ball was at first, and Duffy just kept on running into the gap, right center field. That will get the run home, and Duffy with a chance to do some running, heading for second, turns the corner, heading for third. The throw in, it's a stand-up triple. 3-0 Giants.
And that's how you pick up your teammates. Guillermo Quiroz, Daniel Carbonell. Now those at bats, they're forgotten. 2 out, opposite field knock. And Duffy continues to have a great spring. A little fastball, belt high, out over the outside corner, perhaps even off the plate. How do you beat it? You go the opposite way. And here, once you find a gap, with the dimensions in all these ballparks in Arizona, they're big. I think 3 bags, and he took it easily.
So here is Christian Arroyo pinch hitting for Cody Hall, the pitcher. And a breaking ball in there for a called strike to Arroyo. Arroyo, who was a top draft choice for the Giants a couple of years back. Runner at third, 2 down, 3-0 Giants. Swing at that one, an appeal. No, says the umpire over at first base. Christian Arroyo, he's only 19 years old. Giants drafted him out of high school back in 2013. He was the 25th overall selection in the first round of that draft. Called a strike on the inside. Now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Arroyo last year started out at Salem Kaiser in the Northwest League, and in 58 games hit .333 there with 5 home runs. Right field, and there is Socrates Brito lunging forward for the catch. The Giants add a run on the Duffy triple and lead 3-0 after 7. Baseball in the Cactus League, and our next telecast in NBC Bay Area will be this coming Friday night at 6 o'clock as the Giants and Reds meet right here at Scottsdale Stadium. Then on Thursday, the 26th, it's the Giants and A's in Cactus League action on Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Comcast Sportsnet and NBC Bay Area, your television homes of the world champion San Francisco Giants. Is that the top of Camelback Mountain? The peak?
It's a good hike.
I understand Amy G made that hike yesterday.
No surprise.
Along with Ted Griggs from Comcast. There's a called strike to Nick Buss from Javier Lopez in from the Giants bullpen.
Yeah, it's really a fun hike up there. Squaw Peak, which is not too far from Camelback Mountain, another good hike. Had a nice chat today with Javier Lopez, and he's pretty excited about his last outing. He pitched an inning, he struck out 3, and he got the chance to face right-handers, which he doesn't often get a chance to do. But in pitching against the right-handers, he brought back a changeup, which he's going to feature this year. And he said, I used to throw them, but against all the lefties, it just really wasn't a place for it. I was just going with the breaking balls. He says, but I'm throwing it. He says, it's good.
This is only his 3rd outing. He wasn't quite ready to go yet when the games started. Shallow center. There's Gary Brown, and that's all for Nick Buss. 1 away. The Giants also have a new right fielder in, Mac Williamson, coming in along with Javier Lopez here in the 8th inning. There's Williamson, who's a great story, a guy who is coming back this year. He had the Tommy John surgery. He's a very highly touted prospect. This guy's got great ability, and the Giants have been keeping a close eye on him, but then he had the Tommy John surgery. So this is a comeback year for him. Lopez just a little bit low to Drury. Now that pitch, our radar gun said 66 miles an hour.
Well, a little curveball, trying to take out that outside corner.
And that's just off the inside. 2-0. Mac Williamson, the right fielder, by the way, 6 feet 4 inches tall. And he was a 3rd round draft choice for the Giants back in 2012. And the count is 2-1.
And there's that changeup we're talking about. Throws it in a 2-0 count. And when you can do that, when you can throw that changeup in fastball counts, that's when it's most effective. And immediately you look at the scouts below us, and almost in unison, all their heads dip to write that down.
3-1 the count now to Brandon Drury. Evans has come out on deck for Arizona. Nick Evans. And it's 3-2 now. Giants ahead 3-0 here in the 8th. Javier Lopez struck him out.
Changeup. It's something he had on the shelf. He sort of got away from it, but you could see, and again, a 3-2 count. See you later.
I remember when he first came to the Giants back in 2010. He told us all more than once. He said, I'm not just a guy who's in for lefties. I can get right-handers out too. And he was kind of proud of that. But the last couple of years, it's kind of broken down to where he's been primarily just a total specialist. And the right-handers that he's faced, he's not had that much success with. So he seems determined to get back to being that guy and get any kind of hitter out.
I think everybody who's labeled a specialist is a bit offended by that label.
Nick Evans, the pinch hitter. That just misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Because they're basically saying that if you're a left-handed specialist, you can only get lefties out. You can't get righties out. And guys take that to heart. They don't like that label.
Going back out into the big part of the yard, shading the eyes with the glove, Gary Brown. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for the veteran Javier Lopez. He of the 3 World Series rings in his 5 years as a Giant. 3-0 Giants after 7½.
Comcast Sportsnet has complete Giants coverage on Sportsnet Central every night at 10:30 p.m. You can see it on Comcast Sportsnet, authentic Bay Area sports.
Sellout crowd, 12,118 at Scottsdale Stadium. The Giants leading 3-0 on this beautiful day. People have been basking in the sunshine out there here in the Sonoran Desert and the late afternoon shadows. It's a much later start than normal. Usually the games in the Cactus League start about 1 o'clock, and today a 3 o'clock start because Mike Krukow asked him to change it.
Yep, just for me. What do you think?
I think it was a good idea. But right now, you've got the bright sunshine in the background, and both the pitcher and the batter and the baseball are all in the dark shadows of the late afternoon. Looks real dark in that shot, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that may be the way the ball looks coming out of the hand of the pitcher. If the hitter's eyes looking out at the pitcher have to adjust to that bright background behind him. So here's Ishikawa. He's 0 for 3 in the game. Flied out deep to center. A routine fly ball to center the next time, and then a ground out to short the last time. 0 for 3. And it's 0-1 facing Seth Simmons, the new pitcher for the D-backs.
Take a look at what Seth Simmons did in 2014. It's a solid season. 78 strikeouts, 61 innings. Good stuff.
A little backdoor breaking ball off the outside. Adam Duvall is on deck, and then Mac Williamson due up third. Postseason hero Travis Ishikawa. 1-2 the count. I did one of those spring training vacations functions the other day with Ishikawa, and everybody, when the fans are all go through the line and get the players who attend to sign autographs, and everybody kept stopping with Ishikawa and said, "You're an inspiration." And it's now 2-2.
Well, he is an inspiration for a guy who is really just about done with his career to come up with a swing of the bat that puts him right there on the same page with Bobby Thompson. And it was the swing of the bat that got the Giants to the World Series. I mean, that is an amazing story.
Now that is a nasty looking pitch. Strike 3. And now we know for sure why Simmons had so many strikeouts last year. That is a strikeout pitch. One away, and Adam Duvall will come up. Amy J is here. Amy.
All right, gentlemen, you were talking about him. Javi Lopez, you just had a really nice outing, and I know you were dealing with some bicep tendonitis. No fun. How are you feeling? Give fans an update.
Everything's going well. That's the luxury that you have in spring training. We got to take some time off, so I basically missed that first week of games and just worked on my shoulder strength and stuff and kind of get that bicep used to throwing every other day, and that's the schedule I've been on since, and it's gone well.
One of the big strengths a club can have in baseball is to have a lot of depth, and you know that as a reliever. When Hunter Pence went down, what was kind of the initial reaction of the team, if you can kind of put it into perspective for fans, and the fact that you knew you had Gregor Blanco waiting right there?
Yeah, you never want to see a guy get hurt, especially the team leader for us, you know, a guy that's out there every day. But if it's going to happen to somebody, having it be Hunter, there's not a guy that has a more positive outlook on anything. So, you know, I remember he took the bandage off, and he already told Greshner, our trainer, that it's already healing. You can see it healing. So, you know, the guys, obviously we're going to miss them, but it's yet another opportunity for a guy to step up. And Blanco's already done that the last few years for all the Giants fans that have seen him. And, you know, I think he's excited for the opportunity. And there's plenty of other guys here. There's Maxwell as well. It's in camp. And Perez is going to get some time out there. And he's going to have to play a little right and stuff. But, you know, we have the pieces that can cover it. Now it's just yet another opportunity.
And Javi is not a social media person. Doesn't do it. But when Hunter got hit, the opposing pitcher, Corey Black, used social media, Twitter, to, you know, he didn't say, "I'm sorry," but in other words, he was, "I'm lost for words," you know, hurting someone, no excuse. What did you think about the use of social media there? It was a little love fest.
Yeah, you know, I think it's the way we live now, and I thought it was great that he reached out. Obviously, again, you don't want anybody to get hurt, and especially in that first outing, you know, as a pitcher, it's been a while since we've seen hitters, and to go out there and expect to throw strikes all the time is sometimes a little far-fetched. I mean, obviously he missed rather far inside, but you know, he reached out, and Hunter again is about as positive as you can be, and he had the right approach, and you know, he told him things happened, and that's just how it is, and you know, we're thankful that you know, he is on the road to recovery, and it didn't hit his wrist, it hit his arm. So that's a break right there.
Last one for you, and I am going to make it about you. Four rings. 4 rings for Javi. 4. It's almost out of fingers here on one hand. What is still left for you to accomplish in your career?
Well, I'm trying to make my bid for the Hall of Fame. You know, I figure at 37, it's a good time to start really cranking out some wins and stuff. I have about probably 25 in my career, maybe 20. So, you know, 280 more wins should probably get me there. I figure I got till I'm about 80 to do that. So, no, you know what? Once you get rings, I mean, you can. 1's great, 2's awesome, 3's even better. But I mean, you know, if you get them, this is why you play. So as long as you still have that hunger and that passion to play this game, then you know that's the drive, is to put more rings on my finger.
If they keep hitting triples, you're going to get there faster.
Well, that's true, and you know, maybe this is part of a rally thing. I mean, this might be something I might need to kick into a broadcasting career or something. Only when I'm covering Giants, so then you know the opposing team, I won't talk. You know, when we're hitting, I will chit chat with you and we score runs.
Perfect, Javi Lopez, broadcaster. I can see it, guys.
All right, and that was Mac Williamson who hit that triple. The young guy coming back from the Tommy John surgery, so a big moment for him here in the Cactus League. His second triple of the Cactus League. So it's 4-0 Giants, and it is now Gary Brown to try and get him in. The infield has moved in. It was Duvall who hit the single, and then Tomlinson came in as a runner. Kelby Tomlinson scored that run on the Mac Williamson triple. Seth Simmons, the pitcher, and just off the outside, good eye there by Gary Brown, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Yeah, Javier Lopez has won the 3 World Series rings as a Giant. They won the World Series the year that they acquired him in 2010, and before that he won one as a member of the Boston Red Sox.
Come on, Gary. Well, no surprise. I mean, he's the kind of guy that it is always going to be around winning teams, and just the way he is on the field and the way he is in the clubhouse. And there is zero doubt in my mind that when he decides to pick up a microphone, he would make an outstanding broadcaster. Very articulate. He's got a great wit. He understands the game. He is a good man.
Javier Lopez. And that's foul and out of play off to the right. He was talking about Hunter Pence and his positive attitude. And one of my favorite stories, the night that Ishikawa hit the pennant-winning home run against the Cardinals, Game 5 of the LCS. In the top of the ninth, the Cardinals had the bases loaded, and Jeremy Affeldt was brought in for the bullpen. And the 3 outfielders, including Ishikawa, met in center field. And Pence gave them a little speech. Here comes Williamson, and he scores. That one off the glove of Blake Lally, and it is 5-0 Giants.
Now that was a fastball. They set up an inside corner, and this thing goes down and away, and Blake Lally just could not get the glove over in time to try and put a backhand on it.
Wild pitch. So base is empty now. 2 runs in for the Giants. Seth Simmons from the windup. Just a little bit high. And that's a walk for Gary Brown with 1 out. 2 runs in here in the 8th inning. And Adrianza will come up. Well, the 3 outfielders met in center field while Affeldt was coming in a big spot. The Giants didn't want to go back to St. Louis. They wanted to win at home that night. Game was tied. Tight spot. And Pence, according to Ishikawa, said to the other 2 outfielders, all right, here's how it's going to break down. Affeldt's going to get out of this jam, and then we're going to win in a walk-off in the bottom of the 9th. And I want you to start visualizing that right now. And Ishikawa said, and that's what we started visualizing, too, because when Hunter says to visualize, we visualize. But Hunter Strickland, who was in the dugout a lot late in those big games, the relief pitcher, he talked about Hunter Pence, because Hunter Pence is such a team guy. And he says sometimes you look in the background, if you have a chance on a television game, a guy's hitting, and Hunter Pence is visualizing this guy hitting one over the wall or hitting one in the gap. So he's visualizing and putting out a positive vibe for every other guy on that team. And you see Pence, he's got he's got that stare sometimes in the dugout where he looks so focused and so intense. And that's what he's doing apparently. He's visualizing something good for one of his teammates at that moment.
Well, if you look at Hunter Pence on the plane, I mean, he's often reading a book, and it's not historical fiction or fiction at all. It's self-improvement. It's philosophy books. I mean, he reads a lot on that. I could see where, visualizing success, visualizing a good swing or a good outcome, that's all part of his makeup. I mean, he is so positive in everything he does, and it is absolutely contagious.
Adrianza, the hitter, and a nice save there by Lally this time. So the count goes to 2-0. Well, we saw Pence at the Giants Fan Fest in February. Dwayne Carpenter and I were talking about this on the radio the other day. That was one of the highlights of the day because they had us all around the ballpark. But we ended up in a little booth signing autographs with Hunter Pence at one point. And so we got a chance to talk with Hunter a little bit. And we asked him about how he runs hard every time out of the box. Right to the first baseman. There's one. And the throw down to second. And stopping is Brown to get into a rundown. And now O'Brien. And the tag is made by Ibarra, the second baseman. And they get the double play to end the inning. So we're heading to the ninth. We'll hold that Hunter Pence thought. We'll be back with the Giants leading 5-0. It is a late afternoon setting here in the Sonoran Desert. The Giants with a 5-0 lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks in this Cactus League friendly. There's Machi, Gene Machi, on to pitch for the Giants in the ninth inning. And he had an excellent year last year, and he's fighting for a job. There's about 4 different guys who, when the exhibition game started, vying for the last spot open in the bullpen. And I did ask Bochy the other day if there's anybody that had kind of emerged looking like the top guy for that. And one thing he did say is you can't discount what Machi did for us last year. This guy had a heck of a season, and that has to play into it. He's had strong outings here, and he had one bad outing. But he says you can't just discount the guy having 5 outstanding months last year.
Oh, he was a workhorse. He did everything, even closed games when asked to do it.
And Bochy kind of took the blame for. He says I think maybe I overworked him a little bit. That he just didn't have anything left come September. 1 ball to no strikes. Machi facing Blake Lally to start things off here in the ninth inning. Giants have a new second baseman in there. And that is a wrong way base hit. Carbonell angling back to get it. Cutting it off. And Lally holds with a single. There's Kelby Tomlinson, who came on as a pinch runner in the 8th inning for Adam Duvall. He stays in to play second base, and Adrianza moves over to play third base now. Ishikawa still at first, Tomlinson at second, Duffy still at short, and Adrianza now at third. And the batter will be Danny Worth. 5-0. The Giants are leading. We were talking about Hunter Pence and his attitude, and when we had that time with him in that autograph booth at AT&T Park for the Fan Fest, he was telling, and Dwayne Kuiper and I, we were kind of over with him in the corner, and you were more with Andrew Susak. So I don't even remember if you heard this discussion, but we were asking about how he just runs hard all the time. And for a guy who plays every day, it's not always that easy to run hard every time. And he said, well, you know, if I break my bat and hit a ground ball or something, or I'm just frustrated that I swung at a bad ball, he says, I run hard because I'm angry. He said it kind of gets all the frustration and anger out of me. I run hard because of that. It's an angry running hard. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Even something that's frustrating and a downer for him, he turns into a positive, because he's beaten out 24, 25 infield hits every year he's been with the Giants.
Well, it's great when one of your leaders is a player who plays that way, because if you're a young player, you can't take a ground ball off.
That is foul, third base side for Danny Worth. 0-2 the count. Well, I said to him, I think a lot of guys do it's just the opposite. They get frustrated, they get angry, and they slam the bat down. They're talking to themselves. They're unhappy, and it's just the opposite. They don't run hard. Sometimes they hardly run at all. But for Hunter Pence, that's the way he expresses the frustration. He runs as hard as he can just to get rid of the anger and the unhappiness that he's experiencing. Deep center, Brown on the run, and he's got it. Now the runner had already rounded second base. He's got a re-tag, and here comes the relay by Tomlinson. It's there. The tag by Ishikawa, a double play. And what a play it was by Gary Brown, because he was also battling the low-lying sun out there. Spectacular play.
Now we talk about it, the instinctive first step, and this is just such a great example. You have to have a great first step, and you have to have a great route. This ball is unforgiving. If you're going to make the play, everything has to be perfect. And, you know, when you can deke a runner that bad. And Lally, the catcher, I mean, he was totally convinced that was going to be over the head of Gary Brown. When you could deke a runner that bad, you've made an exceptional play, and that was.
So 2 down, and here is Peter O'Brien. And Machi delivers. Ball 1. Watch Blake Lally go here. Oh.
He broke 2 ankles and a kneecap trying to get back to first base. He was convinced he was going to try and score.
Danny, good swing.
Well, Ishikawa did a good job too. The hurried throw from Kelby Tomlinson was a little offline, but he got his man. And that runner goes around second base. He's got to re-tag. He can't just cut across the infield and take the shortest route, although he might want to. He's got to re-tag second base on his way back to first.
Boy, what a play by Gary Brown. Everybody's buzzing about that here at the ballpark. Rightfully so.
Picked up cleanly. Adrianza. And that's the ball game for the Giants. And you said at the very beginning the Giants wanted to. Bruce Bochy said it's time to start winning some games. And in fact, they have won one here today. A very nice win as well.
Yeah, very well played, clean ball game. Good pitching, good defense, and timely hitting.
5-0. The Giants over the D-backs on this Sunday late afternoon in the Valley of the Sun. We'll be back with a final word after this.